Yeah, here we go. Wow, what the... Welcome once again to the Shlicketty cast. I'm your host, Aaron Forsyth. We're gonna have a fun one today, I think. We're gonna wing it, and we're gonna do it great, and we're gonna tell you it's great, no matter what you think. So, hey, before I get my buddy Mike out here, I gotta tell you, you gotta like, you gotta subscribe, you gotta tell your friends. Also, we want you to interact on the threads. I've been trying to get you, tickle your nuts there to try to get you guys to talk in the threads. I want you to get to know each other. So let's do it. So let's do the math here. Let's start it. Oh, here we go, ding dong. We're not ditching him. He's our buddy Mike. Check him out.
This week it's an overhead door. What are you gonna do? It varies from week to week. We're in different buildings, we're in different parts of the galaxy, we're in different universes and different realities.
Remote control? Yep. Is it remote control?
Yeah, somewhere. There's a button somewhere that controls it. I just don't know where.
Did you know garage doors now they have apps that have things in your mirror and everything like that? Remember the days when your parents used to have the little square box with a button that clipped onto the visor?
I wish I had the clip onto the visor. So so you know they got the little safety thing. So if the ball goes through, or the kid or the dog, and it doesn't crush them. So on mine, it's a laser, not a laser, but just it's a light optical sensor, right?
And you can stop it with your foot.
Yeah, mine aren't aligned. So the only way to get the door up or down is you got to hold the button the whole time.
Oh. So you gotta wait it out?
Yeah, and if your finger wiggles and it slides off it goes back up. And so then you gotta try and put it down again. Ooh. It's very slow, it's very pain in the ass, and apparently there's no way around it other than taking the two sensors, sticking them nose to nose, and then duct taping them.
So mine, we have one of those things for the visor. Now I was able to program my thing on my rear view mirror, which has about like 10 feet of distance, stinks.
Oh.
But here's what I did. So I thought I was going to be Mr. Slick Willie, and I'm like inside the house, right by the back door. I got the little thing. So I got one of those things where you tape it to the wall, and it's like a little slider. And I taped it to the back of the thing, and I slide it on the wall, so it's like the button's on the wall. All cool, right? It's been there for 5 years, 6 years. And I noticed the battery's getting a little wonky doodle. And I go, let me just take this out of the slider, and I take it out of the slider, and there I am, and like say this is it, I take it out of the slider, the thing I taped, I glued the slider part that I slid onto the wall over the battery part, so I can't get to the battery compartment, because I've got the slider on there, glued. How about that? So I fucked myself.
I mean... Yeah,
but the battery's holding tight. I will say. Now I gotta go. Okay, it does it. you gotta be gentle with it, and sometimes you gotta magically do the blow on it.
I had all swanky at my other house in Mesa. When we moved in there, I got some aftermarket garage door openers, for the car and for the Yeah, I had it down pat, man.
Yeah.
It was great, man.
So is that pretty general?
Do
they make universal? Could I go to I'll go to, they don't have Radio Shack, but I was going to say, could I go to somewhere like Best Buy and go, hey, give me a remote control for my overhead?
Yeah, and they make them like in general it's like sort of in general manufacturers.
Oh.
Remember back in the day when you first got like high-speed internet and you went to buy your own like cable modem, and there was a cable modem for like your cable company and a couple other cable companies, and then there was a different model for the other cable company.
The early 2000s, there's all kinds of things.
It's sort of like that where they'll have like they got so you get the general kind, and once you get the one that's sort of close enough, then there's only a couple of sort of combinations, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I figure I have an old schooler, so I was thinking like, how we used to get the universal remote?
For the television.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they have universal? That was my question to you. They have universal buttons.
Yeah, that's what it is. But much like back then with the universal remote for the TV, remember they used to have a little book with all the codes in it? They got rid of all that. They started standardizing the codes. Okay. Now it's like there'll be one code for like 7 or 8 brands. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. They're condensing.
And they're like, it's like 3 dip switches or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, remember Universal. Remember trying to
I remember there were books. And you would have to look it up in the book and be like, oh, it turns out it's 0000.
Yeah, and then if yours wasn't on there, you go, what the hell? It's not on the list.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Man, back in the rough days.
Oh, yeah. That was the late 90s, early 2000s. See, those are my favorite years because technology could do stuff, but then you could still get lost. So,
dude, you know, I'm
but it was annoying.
Dude, it was so annoying. I'm fairly
couldn't do one thing without this thing. Couldn't do that without that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm fairly technically savvy. I remember going over to Rome's house. He had one of those Logitech programmable remotes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, it's just set up by function. If you want to watch TV, just hit TV, and it turns on everything you need to watch TV. It made me nuts. I couldn't understand any of it. It was like, oh, God. It just, I could not. Because it's like, unless you got the remote and you program and you know it, like, you can't go to somebody else's house and deal with their universal remote.
I never watch TV in my room. But every now and then, last night I was like, all right, I wasn't tired, so while she's snoring away, buzzsawing over there, I'm going to turn on the TV, watch some Loudermilk. Well, I have this remote, and remote is foreign from the Apple one I use downstairs. I haven't touched this thing, and I'm like, all right, how's it going? And then my browser on the TV's all jacked up. It's all weird. It's all different. Every button's doing a thing. I'm resetting it. I can't. I literally felt like my grandfather on the first remote control. I was like, this thing stinks. I'm thinking like, I got to get a universal remote just that I can follow because this remote stinks for this kind of TV.
But the thing is, these days, I had something like that the other day for some reason. A thought crossed my mind. You can get an app to replace most remote controls these days.
You'd think. Yeah.
No, you can't.
Well, I know in Apple land, because she can change. She does everything with her Apple phone from the thermostat on down to changing stations.
Yeah.
I'm not in the Apple cult, so I'm an Android cult. So my house isn't talking to the Android yet.
It's not a cult.
The Apple cult?
It's not a cult.
Not anymore. It felt culty though for a while there, though. You got to admit, it felt a little culty there.
Now no one could afford any of it. But I'll tell you this. Man.
When they had their own plug-in sizes, I was like, that's
the only thing
I'm
you
done.
can say for cult is, since I switched to Apple, I spent 0 time having to chase around bullshit like fucking malware, viruses.
They're good that way.
And having to install, what was the thing? The drivers. The fucking driver.
Oh, drivers and dongles and drivers. Yes. Oh, that is
because nobody tells you that in Windows World back in the day, and I'm sure it's different now, but back in the day, you'd have to install the drivers 3 fucking times.
Yes.
You'd have to install it as a universal serial bus device. You'd have to install it as an audio device. You'd have to install it as some other third
and heaven forbid you
but
got
they don't
an update.
tell you that. So when you're installing the drivers, it keeps popping up to install the drivers.
Yeah.
And you're like, I already did it, so you cancel it. And then your shit never works right.
I know.
Fucking
Yeah. That old Windows
Talk
shit.
about scam and cults.
You're right. I will say that, they almost need like a third system to like there's things Apple did right, there's things the Windows people did right.
It depends on what you want to do with it. If you want to go in and tweak and fuck with it and fucking code and hack and fuck around, go with Windows because it's open source and you can do anything you fucking want with it. If you just want to fucking have it work when you need it to work, like me, like I don't care about noodling with it. For me, it's a tool.
Yeah.
I'm not overclocking anything, sure. Because I thought when I first started getting computers, I'm like, oh, you want to be able to upgrade. I've never upgraded anything. Well, no, that's not true. My last Windows desktop tower, I upgraded the hard drive, and I also upgraded and put in a CD burner. Remember those? We were talking about that the other day, where it was like...
the CD burner.
I remember back when you guys got your first disc made, and it was like, oh shit, with the silk screen printing on the front and everything. Because it was like magic to us how that happened.
Oh yeah,
we
especially
barely
this.
understood
I couldn't even wrap. I remember in the late '90s making our own bird CDs, but we used to have the sticker spindle we'd put onto it. The sticker.
Yeah, the labeler.
Yeah, the labeler. But there was no silk screen about it like they do with a real CD.
No, right at the end it was getting sort of there was a light scribe where the laser could do some sort of. It was like all frosted and it would sort of etch it off and like label it or something. That was kind of good.
Yeah, CDR. But I like the concept of a CDR. I feel like
I'm gonna turn on some noise here. I'm fucking hot.
All right, if you hear Mike's fan, don't complain.
I put it on low.
That's moving your hair, but that's all right. No, can't hear it. I can't hear it.
It's hot in here today. It's like 68. It feels fucking hot.
Because it's spring. Spring is sprung.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
up and-
officially spring because
it's up and
here's the
down.
word. The way it smells after a rain is called the petrichor. Did you know that word?
Of course not. Nobody says that. That's not a word anybody says.
True, but there is something to be said. Like you can tell when spring hits. Like I notice my little things are popping out of the ground. Little things are happening.
Whoa, Budley.
You wake up in the morning, it's like, nah, it doesn't smell like spring yet. You know.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is with the weather's all goofy anymore. With I don't know if you've been paying attention to it. But there's a kid on YouTube that I've been watching, Max Velocity Weather Channel. He's really good.
Velocity, what a name.
I know. I think it's his real name. He's really good with the computer predictive models and that sort of stuff. And man, it's just been nutty. I mean, there was at one point where, remember, it was like sort of nice, and all of a sudden it got cold. It literally looked like somebody blowing down from up north, and this fucking cold air just like blasting in and billowing around, and it gets these like troughs that go all the way down. So it's like, it's very nutty weather. So our weather is sometimes, by the time it reaches us, is like going north-south.
Yeah.
So there's like a high pressure here and a low pressure here. So it'll be like nice weather, and then the storms come through, and then they move out, and it's kind of nice weather. You know? It's weird. It's a weird time.
I mean, say what you want about the global warming, whatever. I mean, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. There, we all know it's real. But I don't know. Is weather more wacky now, or are we just smarter and we're just onto it? You know what I mean? Or was weather this wacky when we were in the 90s? Like, I remember a few wacky snowstorms and cold snaps and warm snaps and things, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think shit's changing now.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more like fires and floods and things now than I did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, for sure. You know, every year there's either fires or floods. You know, and
well, that's. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking California, that's every fucking year. I mean, honestly, that's every year in California because it's so tight on whether it's not enough water and it turns out to be brush fire season, and then too much water and then it turns into being mudslides.
I know. That's why we are lucky. Like Erie stinks,
but then again,
but Erie has no natural disasters short of us freeze our balls off winter.
Yeah,
we're good.
We're fairly.
No
stable.
earthquakes. Knock on wood. Nothing kooky.
It's the same
tornadoes.
thing out. Same thing out in Phoenix, not in Arizona. Arizona is relatively stable, other than just the heat. Yeah, other than the heat, which you can manage. There's ways to manage it and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you didn't have air conditioning technology, that heat would kill you eventually.
If you didn't have air conditioning technology, there's a way, in much the way that a chimney creates a draw and draws up the chimney, you can do that same sort of thing with a certain structure, and it will create a draw, and it will move air like that.
I'm surprised in Arizona in the desert, why don't those guys burrow into the mountains more? Why don't they burrow down? Why don't you go underground? How come there isn't more underground shit?
A lot of people do. The Anasazi.
True, you'd think, but instead...
That's all around there. That's Arizona, New Mexico
suburban
area.
people, well, okay, let's just build Cuesta Verde over there, move the headstones, build it over there,
Well, because of the fact that, there's so many gems and riches in the ground in Arizona, when you buy land in Arizona, you don't actually get the mineral rights. I don't know if people know this. You don't get the mineral rights. Yeah,
because I know okay, let's say your girlfriend, she bought like a little square of land out there. Now, if all of a sudden she's just sitting there, she's meditating, and she digs a hole, and all of a sudden the oil spurts up. She bubbling crude spews. She doesn't have a right to that?
Right.
Somebody else can go, hey now, sister, you got to move. You don't get the bubbling crude.
Now, I don't know. It may be different in different counties, and it may be different on, unincorporated land.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I bought 2 houses there. And when you buy it, because I used to work in the biz and stuff, and when you buy it on the title, it says on the title search, you have the the property, and it defines the property and the markings of where it is and latitude and longitude and the size and all that sort of stuff, the plot, and then it'll say excluding mineral rights, mineral and gem rights.
Wow. So now, if you were to find meteorite, or I found some,
No, like you say, it's the old, if you're digging in the backyard and you strike crude oil, then basically because because when I bought houses, it's in the middle of town. It's in the middle of the city.
Yeah,
it's in the middle of the metropolis.
Yeah,
like
they already know.
Sprawling metropolis. So I don't know what the rules are at that point, but technically that's how it is.
What if you found are dinosaur remains? Would that be considered precious gems? Minerals? If you go, okay, I found a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull.
No, because I think the wording was specifically for, minerals,
right,
like gas, petroleum products, like crude oil.
But I mean, if you find a lunk of gold, you'd be like, I'm not telling anybody. Throw it in my sock drawer.
No, I know. Yeah. I mean, if you didn't tell anybody, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Who do you call? A gold specialist? I mean, who are you gonna call? Yeah. Call a geologist. Come on down and test it. And, okay, you got gold here. And then I was like,
you say these things as if they're ridiculous, but you have not been out there in Arizona.
No, I haven't.
Metro Phoenix. That shit's everywhere.
Really?
There's gold places everywhere that will buy gold.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, there's pawn shops everywhere. There's gold places everywhere.
Well, I think of pawn shops, but yeah, I'm picturing like Pawn Stars, Chumley.
You can think about that, about the people or whatever, but there's a lot of different types of pawn shops and they're sort of all over the place. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a whole world I don't know anything about.
Because there's people even today that go out there to the Superstition Mountains, which is just past Mesa where we were living, and they'll go out there and fucking try panning for gold.
Still.
Wow. Because that's the whole thing of the Lost Dutchman's mine, is that this guy had found some claim where he had struck gold that was coming out of some stream coming out of the Superstition Mountains, on the back of the Superstition Mountains, which is facing north.
Because whenever you see it on TV and they're like, all right, they're in the river there, they're searching and they got the sifter and they're doing their thing, they'll find like a little tiny thing about the, look, we've got gold. And it's just
actually,
like
you act like it's a nugget. They'd love to find a nugget. It's dust.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Flakes. It's little particles.
Yeah, and gold, it's hard, gold is not as shiny as you think. It's pretty, from what I've seen out in the raw, it's kind of dirty. You wouldn't even know. You could easily pass it up. Or would you know? Would you know gold if you saw it?
The thing about gold is the gold doesn't tarnish. So the gold is always nice and yellow and shiny. The only thing is the pyrite, which looks a lot like it, but it has a bit of an opalescent sheen to it.
Pyrite, yes, I know that term.
So that's the fool's gold. So it's very easy to sort of get sucked into it, which I believe, if I can remember fucking earth science class in like 9th grade, the fool's gold is of the pyrite family, which is the sort of like... they've got facets and edges to them and stuff. That's what makes it sort of reflective.
Imagine the first person who thought they had a gold mine and it was really pyrite.
Yeah.
They're like, and he was like, yeah, we won it. We won the lottery, sister. They're doing the happy dance.
Not only does gold not tarnish, like silver, or like copper, which can turn green.
Sure.
Shit like that. It stays gold and shiny, but also it's a pretty dope electrical conductor.
Okay. Sure.
And it's pretty good for like heat and radiation shielding. That's why they use it on the space stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking dumb talk about gold.
I know. I'll never have gold. And I don't like jewelry either. I'm not a jewelry guy. Never really had any gold. Never had any precious.
I've seen people that have like gold wristwatches and shit like that. Like I used to work with a guy at the bank that he was into like watches and shit like that.
You ever see a gold Rolex, like a real night? You go, wow.
It is kind of impressive, man. Because
it's like, whoa.
The gold is sort of like it is like, ooh, damn, look at that.
Yeah.
Cool.
It does take your breath away,
Speaking of which, you know what I saw today? I was watching on YouTube some videos. It was this guy, CS Guitars, I believe. He's over in Scotland.
Okay.
And he was talking about these couple of custom fucking guitars that he was making. He was putting together.
Okay.
One of them he did for this great guitar build-off.
Okay.
That he did. And so he made it from scratch. He took the top of a whiskey oak barrel, pulled the slats apart, glued them together into a big chunk.
Okay.
And then fucking made it into a flying V, right?
All right.
Carves the body. There's the neck.
Neck through even too? Or you just made the body, made the neck separate?
He made the body, but he had like a neck butt. It was like an easy access sort of butt. So it was there was some body sort of coming up sort of thing.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. But
He used whiskey barrel though.
right, he used the whiskey barrel top, the lid.
Oh, okay.
The lid, which was made of planks of wood with dowels holding them together, right? So he literally just pulled the planks apart, lashed them up, glued them together, cut it out. It actually wasn't big enough for the flying V. So, because, up near the neck,
Sure.
he cuts off these like shoulders, so it leaves these chunks of wood. So he goes and glues those down at the bottom to make the bottom of the points for the V.
Wow.
Right? So it gets the whole guitar going together, right? Then, so he decides he needs a good theme on it, right? Because he's like, I'm not a fancy builder, but he's like, I need a good theme. So since he's Scottish, so he made it a Scottish guitar. He made it a guitarton. So he took his family's tartan, and he fucking built it in. He made this like metal frame pickguard, and he put the tartan in there, and he put the tartan underneath. He made these metal pickup covers, so the tartan's underneath there. You know what I mean? And then he built in, so when you wear a tartan, there's this fucking part that goes over your fucking shoulder. So he built that into the guitar strap too.
Wow.
But he's like just manufacturing all these like parts and stuff, like the metal pickguard shit and all these fucking
How fun.
custom parts and stuff.
Tartan.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. The guitarton, yeah.
And he probably had an interesting accent, which those accents are always fun.
It was funny. I was
Breezy
listening
on
to
the
his
ear.
accent at first, and I was like, "Is that Irish?" Because there's a couple of Irish
I
guys.
love
that
Irish guys who swear a lot.
Well,
Nothing better on the ear.
right? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. There's a YouTube channel called what is it? That Chapter,
All right.
something like that. It's like a true crime show.
Okay.
There's a guy on there named Mike. He's from Ireland. He's on there. That's pretty funny. And then there's another guy has a show called his name's what's his name? Callan from
Oh, of course. That's Irish as it gets.
I know, right? He does one of those like where it's clips of like haunted paranormal stuff or whatever. I forget that one. They always have like a top 5 or whatever. I watch his shit. Anyway, I don't know. It's fucking yeah. But it didn't quite sound like Irish, but it turned out to be Scottish. So but sometimes you can't tell. You're like, it could be New Zealand, could be Ireland,
Yeah.
could be Scotland. It's hard to tell sometimes.
I know. I wish we had more musician listeners out there because I would like to nerd out and talk guitars and talk amps and stuff, but I don't want to lose all the layman people. But I know, you and I can nerd about it. We nerd out about guitars and amps all the time.
The dude had a second build where he did another fucking Flying V where he got these metal parts from this manufacturer who was taking copper and aging it and then fucking like engraving it with like little fucking fancy designs and shit.
Wow.
They're doing like a dinosaur theme. So they send them all these like etched brass parts and shit, like a truss rod cover and a pick guard, fucking knobs and everything.
I had a custom one made for my Firebird.
A what?
A custom pick guard. And it was cut out of metal, and it was like the shiny steel, and it has it has like all this like not tribally, but kind of more Celtic feel of a. But it was cut out like that, It's negative space, It was custom made back when I had money and I bought the guitar. I was like, all right, custom made that.
Yeah. My 5-string Music Man has a custom pickguard that the dude I bought it off in Florida had made for it. Just mirrored.
Yeah.
But he got it from WD. WD pickguards.
I know. I always like the shiny chrome stuff. I know.
Yeah. Dude,
hard to keep clean because the fingernail.
My shit was reflective. I used to do gigs and shit. I'd fucking like blind people. It was fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Good time.
I know. I always liked it, but I was always second guessed it because the sweat smudges from your hands from rocking. But I guess it is what
you gonna do?
Yeah,
but also, it depends on the instrument and where the pickguard is and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
So,
what do we got here? Oh, we got a fun stuff. Stick around. We got a fun list coming up later. But before we get in the list, guess what we've been doing, guys? We're gonna get in the Wayback Machine. We're stepping into the time machine again. 1977.
now we're getting down to it.
So me and Mike were talking earlier. We were like 1977. Now we're at the part in the timeline when him and I were little kids.
We're like 6.
Yeah, we're in our pajamas, but we're picking up on shit. My older brother's bringing stuff in. So my brother's 4 years older than me, so he's 11, 12. He's bringing shit in.
Right, you had that, yeah.
Yeah, but he's still a kid, so so when my kid or my brother would go, "Oh, dude, you gotta watch this or you gotta listen to that," I'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about," but I'm a little kid, onesie.
Yeah.
But the words were entering. So it's fun. It's fun. As we get farther in these years, that's the cool thing is it's making sense. See, back when we were in 1972, you and I, we were eating crap.
So that's all. Like we're looking at, going, oh, look, isn't that interesting? Like we don't know.
Yeah, we were, but now we're starting to know.
I was shocked to find that the Kraft singles started in '72, because from my point of view, they were just always there, and of course they were.
Sure, yeah.
If I was on one of those Who Wants to Be a Millionaire shows, and they would have said, when did the Kraft singles came out? I would have said 59.
Oh, you would have done 59. You would have done way earlier.
Yeah, way earlier.
59.
I would have, because I didn't know. 72. Like, holy shit, that seems so late to me. But
yeah, that does seem late to me, because I would have thought the advent of the hamburger and the hamburger stand and the, you know what I mean. I would have thought, you're right. I would have gone 59, 56, somewhere in there. You're right. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I got some fun stuff. Well, in my 1977 list, I got some things going on. I got the products and whatnot. And now the movies, we're going to talk. He starts with the music, which is fine. That's cool. But when we get the movies is going to be the game changer, because that's going to roll into where we're going with this.
Yeah, like we were saying last week, after Jaws kicked open the blockbuster doors in '75, this is after Jaws has sunk in. So then we had the '76 year, which was still a lot of the fucking sort of grassroots late '60s mentality sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Now we're in '77. This is where the lessons learned in '75 are showing fruit.
Yes, and now they're picking, and we're seeing patterns of things that are working, they're going full in on. And things that aren't working, they're kind of like, all right, we'll just leave it there and see how it survives.
And it's sort of the same thing in TV as well.
Yeah.
When we get there, we can sort of start to see some trends that are showing that we're moving out of where we were and we're going into a different phase.
I got something fun here. Since it's 1977, I got something fun. So leave me some time on the back end. Let's not get too wordy into the music or whatever. I don't know, maybe we could shave off some time, because I need some time. Here's what I'm going to do this week. For 1977, guess what I got? I got the channel listing of Saturday morning cartoons in 1977, the winter of '77.
Wow.
What was on the old Saturday morning cartoons?
That actually might be more appropriate for next week, because that sounds like it's going to be end of '77 going into '78.
True. They might tie in, might have some add-ins. But most of these, I was like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I could see where I flipped the channel to the next one.
Interestingly enough, when we get to the TV list, because I don't deal with the Sunday morning or Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, I'm mostly just the primetime sort of stuff. There's not a lot going on in TV. It's sort of settling in for like a couple of years, where a lot of these like new upstarts are there.
Yeah.
Some of the old stalwarts are still hanging on, right?
Sure.
So it hasn't fully shifted, but the shift has begun.
Yeah, I almost feel like the central family that was huddled around in the 50s and 60s were huddled around the TV, the family, now is going out. Now you got the nightlife. You also got more music. You got driving around. You got more social movies. Things are pulling away from the family sitting around watching TV,
Well, I don't know. I mean, it always seems to me that, like, marketing-wise, definitely in the 50s and 60s, there was a big push towards marketing directly towards children. Then there was definitely a pushback at that at the end of the 60s, early 70s, where, they didn't want the TV shows to just be like half-hour commercials for toys. And so you started to have this educational content sort of have to be in there. And when you started to get the educational content be required, especially for children's television, it started to permeate out to all the sort of TV, the family TV shows to have some sort of educational learning message.
Right.
And so once you start getting that happening, it's becoming much more deliberate, specifically tailor-made products for the family. Yeah. It's not just happenstance. Because when we were kids, the kids shows were barely kids shows. They were like shows for like 20, 30-year-olds. And kids
true. I guess we were kids watching Chips, or watching Emergency or something like. Yeah, you're right. That wasn't geared towards kids.
No, Dragnet wasn't geared towards kids, was it?
What?
Dragnet?
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
It wasn't necessarily geared towards kids. It was sort of kid friendly.
Something like the Munsters. That wasn't really geared towards us.
It wasn't
kids.
super geared towards kids.
No, you're right.
It was sort of kid friendly, but even Gilligan's Island was maybe a little bit geared towards kids, but not really.
Yeah, Yeah, we just kind of watched. That's why, hence, we just watched whatever was on. We had 3 channels. We watched whatever's on.
But by the time you get to this point, 77, and then going forward in the late 70s, early 80s, you definitely get much more deliberate, focused products in television, movies, music for target
products.
target demographics. I think they started to do a lot more market research.
Yeah, and toys were tying into TV shows like $6 Million Man. Boom, there it is.
And that's all going to start this year with the movies released. And
wait till we get to movies,
and the
yes,
marketing
because
tie-ins.
the door gets kicked open on this sumbitch, and I think I know where you're going with this. So why don't you start us with...
You want to?
Do we want to... Let's go. Let's get the music out of the way first.
You want to do the music? Okay.
We'll get it out of the way. Because this whole thing is all about TV and products.
All right. So for music, I got a couple lists here. So here's the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles of '77. All right. So these are the big songs. Now there's a bit of crossover with my secondary list, but also I'm going to have the secondary list of like important songs that came out in '77.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily were big Billboard
they
singles.
weren't on the Billboard, but they were everywhere.
But they're songs everybody knows, and it's like, oh yeah, that was the year that came out. Okay, so here's Billboard. Tonight's the Night, Rod Stewart.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Is this about when he went solo? Because prior to that, he was in the Faces.
Yes, this is
so
solo.
this is the debut of Rod Stewart.
Early
solo.
Rod Stewart solo stuff.
Yeah, he's good. He's cool.
Andy Gibb, I Just Want to Be Your Everything.
Wait, Andy Gibb, solo from
the younger brother.
Oh.
That's the younger brother
Yeah.
of the Bee Gees.
Of the Bee Gees.
Best of My Love, The Emotions. Evergreen, the theme from A Star Is Born, Barbra Streisand. Right? These are the top. Angel in Your Arms by Hot. I Like Dreamin' by Kenny Nolan.
Ugh.
Don't Leave Me This Way by Thelma Houston.
Ugh.
Whitney Houston's aunt.
Oh.
Your Love Has Lifted Me Higher and Higher by Rita Coolidge.
Okay, that one lifts. That's good. That's Motowny.
Yeah, and rounding out the top 10, Undercover Angel by Alan O'Day.
Okay.
Undercover Angel. Remember that one? Torn Between Two Lovers, Mary McGregor.
Feeling like a fool.
Now we're out of the elite top 10. Now you start to get some better songs. I'm Your Boogeyman, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Oh, that one was big.
Dancing Queen, ABBA.
Oh, there we go.
You Make Me Feel Like Dancing, Leo Sayer.
Yeah.
Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett.
Ew.
Telephone Line, Electric Light Orchestra. What You Gonna
ELO
Do?
was on there. That's the first I've seen ELO on a chart.
Yep. Pablo Cruz, What You Gonna Do? Peter McCann, Do You Want to Make Love? Sir Duke, Stevie Wonder. Was that on the list last week?
Sounds like last week. Yeah.
I mean, that's such a good song. It might have stayed on the charts for half a year.
It's going to hang in there for a
Easily.
while. There's always going to be Stevie Wonder on the chart.
Hotel California, Eagles, Gotta Give It Up,
always an
Marvin
Eagles
Gaye.
song.
Gonna Fly Now, Bill Conti. Still.
Oh, from Rocky.
From Rocky.
Yeah.
Number 21. Southern Nights, Glenn Campbell. Rich Girl, Hall & Oates.
Yes.
Girl.
Gotta love Hall & Oates. I'm a big fan.
Hotline, Car Wash. You know,
Movie. See, a lot of these, notice the Billboard and charting ones always tie into movies. They're movie soundtrack songs. The movie soundtrack reigned supreme back then.
Fly Like an Eagle. Don't Give Up on Us by David Soul.
Oh, David Soul.
Yep.
Wasn't he one of the
Starsky
Duke
and
boys?
Hutch. Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, Starsky and Hutch guys.
Yeah, he was Hutch.
Yeah.
Feels Like the First Time, Foreigner.
All right.
You know, Easy, the Commodores, all that sort of shit. Blinded by the Light, Man for Man.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough for that. So here's the other list.
Okay.
So these are the top 200 songs of 1977 voted by the SFH members, which is the Steve Hoffman Music Forums. So these are just some music nerds.
Okay.
And so they have Heroes, David Bowie.
Oh, We Can Be Heroes. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Go Your Own Way, Fleetwood Mac.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay.
Salisbury Hill, Peter Gabriel.
Oh, all right. All right.
That's the movie trailer song.
Yes.
Number 4, Like a Hurricane, Neil Young. Psycho Killer, Talking Heads. Watching the Detectives, Elvis Costello. Allison, Elvis Costello.
I love me the Elvis.
The Chain, Fleetwood Mac.
Ugh.
Deacon Blues, Steely Dan.
Ugh.
God Save the Queen, Sex Pistols. Running on Empty, Jackson Brown. Peg by Steely Dan. Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Barracuda, Heart. Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. Dreams, Fleetwood. Aja, Steely Dan. Marquee Moon by Television. Dogs by Pink Floyd. Lust for Life by Iggy Pop. Sheep by Pink Floyd.
All not bad. Nothing I'd listen to, but I wouldn't cringe if I heard it in the grocery store.
Right, a lot of David Bowie, a lot of Sex Pistols, a lot of Fleetwood Mac,
Yeah,
ABBA, Take a Chance on Me.
It's fine.
Supertramp, Give a Little Bit, We Will Rock You by Queen.
Okay. Yeah, all not
London's
bad.
Burning, The Clash.
All right, yeah, but it's okay. All right, they're also maybe because I've heard all those songs so many times. I'm just kind of like they cringe me.
How Deep Is Your Love? You know, but Come Sail Away, Dust in the Wind.
Yeah, it's all soundtrack stuff. It's all popular song. Yeah, I guess classic radios beat them to death by
Billy
now.
Joel, Moving Out.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Strawberry Letter number 23, The Brothers Johnson. Whole Lot of Rosie, AC/DC.
Wow.
More Than a Woman, Bee Gees. I Feel Loved, Donna Summer. Cold as Ice, Foreigner. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Meatloaf.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Gotta love
So, Let There Be Rock, Blue Bayou. You get it.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's music. So that's fun.
Not bad, not bad. Okay, once again, now, all these songs that he's talking about are all popular. I mean, to this day, now we're in 2025, and those fucking songs are still heating up on the radio.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the secondary list is usually like this list of like classic songs that everybody knows now that have stood the test of time that you go, oh, those came out in 77. Interesting. Right?
And what
but
is
it's
the common
different than
thread?
the Billboard charts
Oh,
from
yeah,
77.
what's the common thread? Yeah, the Billboard chart, the Suits, the ones that I don't know who. Billboard doesn't know shit. I mean, of course, they're maybe going by sound scans, or I don't know how.
They don't have SoundScan yet.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, so how
SoundScan
do they
didn't start till like 86?
So how is Billboard getting their numbers back then? It
was estimates. It was record store estimates of sales.
Estimates of sales, which could be easily flubbed and flubbed.
Easily flubbed and fluffed.
Yeah, easily, yes. And then, mixed with the labels just like, oh, we're going to send over to, Wisconsin. We're going to send, this Barbra Streisand single. And it's like, oh, fuck off. The Suits didn't know shit back then. And it was all, it was, ugh.
Yeah, it was all a bunch of manufactured Hornswaggled.
Hornswaggled. Hornswaggled is exactly what it is.
All right. Do you want to hear some TV stuff?
TV stuff? Yeah.
Right.
Wait, no, let's do movies, because then we could wrap it up on TV, and then we can segue into my cartoons.
All right, as you like it.
We'll go movies.
All right, here we go. So these are the top grossing movies of 1977. Now, I have a secondary movie list just for fun for comparison, which is, this one is the top grossing movies of 77. The other list is the 1977 worldwide box office.
Ooh.
Now, what's interesting...
It's different than, worldwide.
Only in a couple of ways. For the most part, it's the same. But there's a few movies that aren't on the worldwide list, which means that there are some movies that are down here on our box office list are up here on the worldwide box office list.
Because you got to keep in mind, in 77 and the early 70s, United States was pretty insular in a weird way.
Well, but we were really exporting our entertainment, and the world was eating it up.
Okay, all right.
Eating it up. To wit, we could probably go through the worldwide box office list. Then we'll take a look at the U.S. one, and you'll definitely see the movies that are sort of U.S. only, that didn't make it, didn't play in the world market.
Squeeze them out, squeeze this in.
Because a lot of these are the same.
All right.
The tops are the same.
All right. Save the big one, though.
We double check this. Actually, sort of a little bit different. Anyway, number one, of course, Star Wars.
The New Hope.
Star Wars: The New Hope.
Star Wars. Star Wars 1977.
Yeah, it grossed almost $200 million in the U.S.
The world is jizzing on Star Wars.
In the world, it was $300 million.
Wow. Star Wars was just stratosphere.
Yeah.
Blew Jaws out of the water.
Yeah, blew it out of the water.
And at that point, Jaws was the big money shot.
Oh, yeah. And especially for the budget. And,
yes.
And Star Wars was fairly low budget as well. Number two on the top grossing movies of 77 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, yes.
Which made $166 million.
Classic. And that's arguably where we get in the gray-headed alien that we all know and love, and the UFO story, the classic UFO story,
It brought a lot of the sort of 50s and 60s UFO experience sort of stuff to like a visual light. But I gotta tell you, narratively and story-wise, it's a fucking convoluted story. It's very hard to follow what the fuck is going on.
Oh, I don't think so. I watched it about a year ago, and it was...
About a year ago. I had to watch it like 3 times when I was a kid to make sense of anything.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Okay, now worldwide box office number 2, instead of Close Encounters, Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit, bringing the Trans Am became the thing.
Directed by Hal Needham, who was a stunt coordinator.
Yes,
And Burt
yes.
Reynolds' buddy.
And
So then number
Burt
3.
Reynolds is a dude.
Yeah. Well, he had a lot of clout coming out of the late 60s. He was pretty hot. Number 3, Saturday Night Fever. On the U.S.
Which is a culmination,
On
you
the
gotta
US
wonder,
charts.
Now, this is what blew
On
disco.
the world charts, it's Close Encounters.
And it blew disco out. I mean, disco was already burbling, as you see in our old list.
And you can see how it's starting to percolate because it's number 3 here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Disco's blowing up. It's number 4 worldwide. So it hasn't, it's still growing worldwide.
Yeah,
They're
disco's
catching
still
on.
swelling, though. But, boy,
Yeah.
this is real. Now, the Saturday Night Fever's taking it to a new level, though.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's breaking it wide. Everywhere's like, that looks cool. Now, our number 5 is The Goodbye Girl. Remember this? Richard Dreyfuss, maybe Marsha Mason.
So Richard Dreyfuss is in 2 #1 movies. Richard Dreyfuss is in that.
Oh, yeah, he was
and Close Encounters.
He was on a tear. Don't worry about him. But that is not on the worldwide box office.
Okay.
That is a sort of uniquely American movie. That's The Goodbye Girl.
Is Richard Dreyfuss still around?
Yeah.
He's alive? Okay, good.
Yeah. Worldwide,
Okay.
for number 4, they had the. We had Goodbye Girl for number 5. They had A Bridge Too Far.
Oh, that's a war movie. My brother loved this movie.
That's a war movie.
I don't think I've seen it, but
we do have it on the American list, but it's at number 8.
Yes. I remember my brother coming home and talking about it constantly.
So, in 6th place on the U.S. list, did not chart.
Yeah, that was
worldwide.
a World War II movie, A Bridge Too Far, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like a World War II. Yeah,
Iwo Jima or something?
something like that. I don't know.
Was it the bridge at Nijmegen in Denmark?
Yeah,
or
I
something?
don't know. I don't know. It's just a colorized kind of
Remagen?
version of a
Bridge
a
over
war movie.
Remagen? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him.
So worldwide, that was number 6.
Okay.
U.S. number 6 was In Search of Noah's Ark.
Ew.
Yeah, I think that's some religious thing from Sun Classic Pictures. Don't know. Number 7 in America, which let's see. Oh yeah, it ended up number 8 worldwide, but here in America it was 6 or 7. Oh God.
Oh, George Burns.
George Burns and John Denver.
John Denver's in
John
that. That's
John
right.
Denver's that first one.
John Denver not only is a big deal at Country Roads, we all know that. He was doing the Muppets, he did that. George Burns was a comedy star. Everyone loved the George Burns. I mean, George Burns, and doing the Oh God, and George Burns as a cigar-smoking god, you know.
Yeah, George Burns was definitely a thing. But I tell you,
Yeah.
his wife,
Hot.
Gracie Allen?
Oh,
Gracie Allen is the funniest goddamn person.
Oh, yeah, Gracie Allen.
Oh, she's so fucking funny.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
used to listen to when I was working at the bank, fucking old 1930s and 40s radio shows.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my God, Burns and Allen, she was hysterical. She was so goddamn funny. Everybody loved her. Oh my God, so good. All right, anyway, so oh God, and then number 8 in the U.S. is Bridge Too Far. Okay.
Okay.
Worldwide box office. After A Bridge Too Far, number 6 is actually also our. Hang on, I just lost my place on my chart here. This is the problem.
I'm making noise in my microphone. Hello, check 1, 2, check 'em. Well, we're done here. Okay, we'll see you later. No.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, everything's a touch screen. You bump it, and then all of a sudden you're at a null page, and they're like, register if you want to see stuff. And I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we're back in business. Anyway,
All right.
after A Bridge Too Far, at number 8 on the U.S. list, is The Deep at number 9. Do you remember The Deep?
Deep. That wasn't an orca movie, was it?
That ends up being our number 6 on the.
Was it like an orca killer whale thing?
It was a sort of The Deep was a prehistoric monster from the deep sort of thing. I think Jacqueline Bisset was in it.
Oh, and they used all. Did they use all the Jaws tropes to try to?
Yes. It was very much a Jaws sort of knockoff. The Deep, yes. And then after that, number 7 internationally, Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, James Bond. Okay.
Right. And so here, that's what we have is A Bridge Too Far at 8, The Deep at 9, and then The Spy Who Loved Me at 10. Okay? Then after that, at number 11, very American movie, Annie Hall.
Ooh, Annie Hall. Ugh.
Right? Which internationally, it goes, it comes in at number 9. So it's The Deep, The Spy Who Loved Me, Oh God, and then Annie Hall internationally.
Annie Hall, was that the...
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, right.
The dinner party or whatever.
Oh, okay, that Annie Hall, okay.
Yeah.
I
Then
was
after,
thinking Annie Oakley. I was thinking, is that a Western? That stinks.
Then after that is Semi-Tough at number 12.
Okay.
And which is at number 10 on the international list, Semi-Tough, right? Then after that, we've got Pete's Dragon at 13. Pete's Dragon at 11 on the international list, right?
Pete's Dragon. I never saw Pete's Dragon, did I? It was a cartoon, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, the dragon was a cartoon.
Okay. Oh, and the person was real. Right, okay. They were blending the two, kind of like Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, kind of like Roger Rabbit did later.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember seeing it in the theater. And it turns out, I just found out the other day that they did a remake a couple years ago. It's on Disney.
Really?
I know. I'm like,
did they
really?
mix the people in the cartoon?
I haven't seen it. I got to watch it though.
It'd be kind of cool if they harkened back to that style and did real people and a cartoon.
No idea.
Or did they blend? Yeah, I wonder which side they went.
I saw it was like 2016 they did it. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I heard of it, but it just didn't register. I don't know.
You got some homework.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so that's Pete's Dragon. Okay, number 14 on the U.S. list is The Gauntlet. Once again, Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. All right. Over here, we have Heroes. I'm not sure what that is.
Heroes.
The movie. So then after that over here...
Would that explain the David Bowie song, We Can Be Heroes?
Possibly, for all I know. Maybe. Maybe it was a David Bowie concert movie he didn't release in America. I don't know. Next we have in the U.S. list, The Turning Point, which I forget what that is. It's some sort of drama.
Okay.
Over in the international list, High Anxiety, Mel Brooks.
Oh.
That's one of those Hitchcock spoofs. It's fucking hysterical. That was one of my first Mel Brooks movies I ever saw.
I don't think I've ever seen
My mom was turning us on to it when we were like 6.
Wow.
She's like, you gotta watch this. We're like, why? And she's like, it's funny. We're like, why? She's like, it's a spoof of Hitchcock. And we're like, who's that? You know? And then Heroes on 16 on the American list. Then High Anxiety. 18 on the American list, Airport 77. The disaster movies, which does not make the international list.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? Then The Rescuers, the animated movie.
Oh, with the mice?
Right.
Ah.
Internationally, Exorcist 2, The Heretic.
Ew.
Yeah, gained traction internationally. Then The Rescuers.
Huh.
Then internationally, number 16, Slapshot, the hockey movie, which I was surprised to see. Huh. Over here, after The Rescuers, we have Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. And then Slapshot.
Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo.
Then Freaky Friday. Then The Exorcist 2.
Freaky Friday.
Yep, Freaky Friday.
Ah, okay.
That's pretty much getting to be it
Good
for
run
the
for
movies.
movies, though. See, movies are big. Every year
Oh,
we're getting
international. Here's what, international. Bad News Bears, Breaking Training. For the Love of Benji.
Wait. Bad News Bears, Breaking Training. That's not the original Bad News Bears. This is like some sequel.
Right.
Ugh.
But this is the international market.
Okay.
In 77. Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown.
Ew.
Was international. Sorcerer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, but it's interesting how the international market...
Sorcerer, that was drawn, was that the Rankin and Bass kind of thing?
Or what was the guy who did Fritz the Cat? Ralph Bakshi.
Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't mention that. Didn't 77, I have it on my list, made by the same people, The Hobbit came out.
Oh, the animated Hobbit.
The animated Hobbit
That was
came out.
Rankin
Didn't make
Bass.
the charts, you know.
No.
It was a residual thing. But The Hobbit, the books were a big deal.
But remember when we saw it, when we were kids, it was on television.
Was it?
I don't remember it being a theater thing. Maybe it never got a theatrical release.
I think in the early 80s, I went to Maxwell's and rented it, you know, those Maxwell things.
Oh, yeah, definitely
That's
remember
where
Maxwell's.
I saw it.
Dude, telling people about the Maxwells out in Arizona, they're like, that sounds like a fucking molestation closet.
Yeah,
It's like,
pornography. That sounds like pornography. Like,
maybe it was at night. I don't know.
I don't know. We just, you'd rent movie. You get like a little side room. You and your buddy would go, oh, we're going to rent Lord of the
Me
Rings.
and my friend Ed would go and we would rent Bruce Lee movies. We would rent all the original horror movies because there were only 5 at the time.
Yeah, and it'd be like $2. You watch a movie, your parents drop you off, and then you and your buddy rent it, you know.
For hours.
Yeah,
like spend the whole
and
Saturday
they had
there.
like a TV and a VCR that was ran by the front desk guy, and they would pipe it in into your little room. And your little room was cool. And yeah, I remember getting like I'd watch like Beastmaster and like
Yep.
Red Sonja and like Lord of the Rings cartoon and the Hobbit cartoon.
It was the only chance you had for watching what you wanted when you wanted.
Yes.
And I remember standing at the counter at Maxwell's. They had the 3-ring binder book, and you would flip it,
Right.
and they would have like all the movies. The book of all the movies. It was all the movies that were available.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're looking through all of them.
I think it was a great idea. I mean, other than maybe, maybe people are nefarious about the concept, but I, as a kid who wanted to see things, that was great.
It was great. I remember there was a friend of mine that I had that I used to go spend the night at his house and shit like that when we were kids. And it was very close to his house. And we would just like walk over there.
Yeah.
We'd go over there on a Friday night and watch a couple of movies. We'd go over on Saturday in the morning and watch movies all fucking day.
I know, same here.
Yeah.
That's what we do, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys were probably going to the west side. He was out in like Bell Valley.
That's where we'd go. We go to that
really?
one. Yeah, we go to that one. We go to Kmart,
What?
get all our candy from Kmart.
Why were you out in Bell Valley?
I had a buddy. We used to play Dungeons and Dragons
Okay.
over there in the Bell Valley area.
Okay, same as me. Okay,
So
because I was like,
Yeah.
we were to the same school on the west side.
Yeah. So yeah, and we go hang out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the Kmart and shoplift there, and then go to Maxwell's and watch a movie.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean Kmart or Hills, depending on where you're at.
So there we go. So it's Saturday though. Here we go. Fun stuff. Now,
wait, did you want me to hit up the TV first,
Oh, the TV?
or do you want to hit up on yours thing?
Let's go TV. All right, let's go. What do you got on TV? All right, 'cause
Not a lot.
not a lot. All right, let's
basically what's
get
happening in
prime
television.
time out of the way.
Yeah, basically what happened in television is there's some old hangers on that are still kicking around. I was shocked to see like Walton's on the list. I'm like, really? Did Walton's make a comeback because they were ending? Nope, it was there last year too. Walton's hanging on.
Walton's was always on as long as I can remember.
Always on. Yeah. Fucking
And I
A.
think I always passed over it. Like that and Little House on the Prairie, I was like, nope, not gonna watch it.
Yeah, Little House.
Depressing.
Oh, okay. I gotta go over there. I put it on the other list. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie and Walton's were super depressing to me. I
Yeah.
knew they were always on though. You could always count them to be on at least twice a week.
Well, and MASH. MASH was fucking all over the place because MASH was in syndicated reruns. And
Yeah, that was
still
like
on
6:30
network.
or 7:00. It was on.
It was still on network.
Yeah, yeah.
Thursdays or Tuesdays on CBS or whatever the fuck. Okay, so we actually have kind of a short list.
Okay.
But half of them are like epic shows, and half of them are like never heard of it. But they were charting.
It's kind of like that with the cartoons. You'll see.
Okay, so now once again, these are only shows that are new for '77. Shit that's been there before on the list, I'm not mentioning.
Okay.
Interesting at this point. Happy Days was number 1. Laverne and Shirley was 2. They switched.
Oh, Laverne and Shirley's beating out Happy Days now.
Lenny and Squiggy are goddamn hysterical.
You got to admit, Lenny and Squiggy were
And-
great.
Objectively, all things being equal, Cindy Williams and what's her face Laverne,
DeFazio.
Penny Marshall,
Oh, Penny Marshall.
their physical comedy in
good.
Laverne and Shirley is amazing.
Yeah, the modern odd couple, the modern female odd couple.
They were
you know?
so good.
Yeah.
so
yeah, Penny
good.
Marshall was very, yeah.
Yeah, the physical comedy, they were like, whew, it's impressive. You watch that shit these days,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
It is.
They're like
good.
fearless.
Yeah. And then the other side characters were always good, like the big ragu, whatever his name.
Yeah,
He was fun.
Eddie Mecca.
Yeah. There was a lot of good characters on
Yeah,
that.
Lenny and Squiggy, so goddamn funny.
And Milwaukee. Nobody said the word Milwaukee until it became that.
Well, that's because Happy Days was in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
Okay, so apparently new in '77, the last grasp of the Western, How the West Was Won. Yeah. It's new soap.
Oh, Soap, which was a parody of a soap.
Yeah, apparently. That's one of those shows that when I was a little kid, they seemed too adult for me. I did not get it.
Yeah. It felt like a British show that wasn't British to me.
It seemed like it was sad and depressing, but the music was light and bubbly.
Now, was Benson a spin-off of that?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
100%,
'Cause
yeah.
Soap and Benson were kind of those two shows my dad would watch, and I'd go, I don't know if I like this or I hate this.
When we were kids, it was
I don't know what's going on.
It confused me a lot when I was kids.
Right, yeah. I was young and I was stupid and I didn't know what was going on, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's a 1-2 punch. A fucking Love Boat, Fantasy Island.
They went hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
You had to watch one and watch the other.
That was your ABC Friday night right there.
That right there, yeah, hour each.
Next was Project UFO.
I don't know that one, and it sounds like something I would have watched had I known it.
This one I've heard of, but I don't know a fucking thing about it. Barnaby Jones.
Oh, wasn't he like he's kind of like Kolchak Night Stalker. He was kind of like solving crimes, wasn't he?
Okay, it was like Eddie Albert, right?
Yeah, he was like he was like an old private eye.
Yeah, it was like old Eddie Albert, right?
Yeah.
Solving crimes or something.
It stinks. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I know what it was.
I heard the name, and I think I've seen the previews for it. I knew there was Eddie Albert. He was really old, and he was like...
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you read it in TV Guide, and you go, Eddie goes to solves a crime about that. And you go, huh, okay, that's what's happening on that one. I won't watch. But you'd read the description.
Oh, it solves a crime with a tow truck. All right, so the last three, we got a legendary one. We got one that's like, oh, this one was not made for us, for kids. And then the last one, we'll start with that one. A show called On Our Own.
On Our Own. Is it like an 8 is enough kind of thing?
I have no information on it. I have
On
no
Our
idea
Own.
what it is.
Like Orphans? Another orphan movie? There's a lot of orphan movies. There's a lot of like
It could
displaced children movies.
Could be
and
5
sitcoms.
precocious orphans that get their own apartment.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Could be a divorcee and her 2 kids starting a new life in a fucking shitty apartment.
Yeah,
in
we're on
Queens.
our own. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll have to Google that one.
Don't know. And then, so this one was like a family drama called Family. Remember this one where you get that Jimmy kid? What the fuck was his name? Remember this show?
Jimmy? Let me guess, he was an orphan.
He had a family, but he ended up doing that
He
show.
lost his family, and he was raised by a single mom in the tough heart of Detroit.
Was it Family, the show with like Meredith Baxter Birney when she was like a teenager? She was.
Oh,
like
that's
the
Family
daughter.
Ties.
No, that's the one where she's the mother. I'm talking. There was a show called Family where she was the daughter.
Oh, Meredith Baxter Birney. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, maybe she came from Family. I think.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like a family drama show. Anyway.
Okay.
And then 1977, new for 77, big hit. Goddamn Incredible Hulk.
Oh, Incredible Hulk. Yeah, as a kid, we loved Incredible Hulk.
Everybody loved Incredible Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
It was like as epic as you could get, crammed into your TV screen.
Yeah.
With a giant monster,
Lou
epic
Ferrigno.
stories,
That's the first we heard Lou Ferrigno. And
Yeah.
he was like,
throwing cars and shit. And now, if I remember correctly, I have a fuzzy memory.
sure.
There was like a TV movie first. Like a 2-hour TV movie.
Right,
And
that
then they
debuted
started the
Incredible
series.
Hulk. Yes, it was. Yeah, they debuted the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, it was. You're right. It was like a 2-night mini series kind of thing, like the Incredible Hulk.
Was it?
I think so, and it was like the origin story.
Yeah, because I feel like that was all the stuff that they showed in the title sequence for the TV show.
Yeah,
It was all the stuff from the movie.
How
There's
he
the
became
reporter
the
on his tail. He's in the car and he gets the flat and he's trying to change it in the rain and he snaps out and he's like, "There's goddamn Jack socks!"
Wow. Yeah.
And he snaps out.
Yeah.
Ba, ba, ba,
We like the
ba,
Hulk. And
ba.
arguably, I think he was the best David Banner, Bruce Banner.
Well, we spent so much time with the character as
Sure.
just the guy going into town, meeting the people in the town,
Yeah.
getting to know the people. I mean, we spent so much time with him.
He
Bill
was a good
Bixby,
actor, though. I like.
He's a great actor. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in that. He was in a show in like the '60s.
Was he?
Life with Father or The Courtship of
had
Minnie's
the
Father.
black
or something
feathered
like
hair,
that.
and the
Yeah.
big eyebrows. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
cat.
he was a good actor. You know, and in you know. he was our
You
TV
forgot to
friend
leave
and all.
out. I know what's funny now. We talked about it last year or last episode because of the year. It says here, Roots miniseries was finally watched by over 100 million people.
Now on the TV list, like I said, I'm not mentioning things that are there from before.
Yeah.
The ABC Monday night movie is a perennial.
Yeah.
The NBC Friday night movie is still there chugging along. So there are these TV movies happening. I don't know, but I will say, on this list, they're much lower down than the previous year. So the TV movies are starting to fade out as the 70s
Yeah,
close.
because number one factoid I have here, Roots.
I remember it.
100 million episode or people.
I remember when it came on. They're like a television event. It fucking was.
Oh yeah. We talked about it in school. Yeah, we had everyone paused at school to talk about it. You know.
But
Yeah.
we didn't. Me and my brother didn't watch it. I'm sure my parents watched it.
Yeah. No, I remember my parents watching.
And then
it
I remember
me kinda
asking my
peeking around
mom
the
about it
corner.
because it was a TV event. I was like, "Oh, can we watch it?" And apparently, there's whipping scenes and shit. So
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, it was kind of yeah.
I think mainly because it wasn't because they were afraid of us seeing it. I think she didn't want us getting ideas. Shit to do to each other. You know how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You will not persecute your brother.
Yeah. Yeah. You will not restrain him while you whip him.
You will not rename your brother. All right, so
You won't attempt to sell him into slavery.
You are Eric. You are Eric.
See, I don't even know that reference. I've never actually seen it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah, it wasn't that you are Toby. Keep
I don't know. I don't know. They wouldn't let me watch it.
Oh yeah.
So I've never gone back to it.
Yeah, Toby.
And I remember at the same time as well, huge big deal was the Shogun, which they recently did.
James Carville.
The Shogun on Hulu, which just fucking cleaned up at the fucking awards recently.
Yeah, everyone says that's really good. Both were a commitment then. It's a commitment now. I don't know.
I watched a video on YouTube that condensed the whole story down to what it is.
Okay. That's a watch.
And it seems like it's a real fucking Japanese 16th century Game of Thrones
Okay.
sort of
Not bad.
situation. Really behind the scenes. And it's based on historical shit. It's real stuff that sort of happened.
Is there anything supernatural going on?
No.
No supernatural, so it's like kings and queens and empires.
Well, so it's the samurais who are the local regional warlords. And it's about this one who is trying to be the shogun, which is basically the ruler of all the territories.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, in order for him to achieve the goal of becoming the shogun, you know, he has to like, it's a whole thing. But you know, yeah. Watch the YouTube video. They sort of explain the whole sort of story. I'm like, okay,
I thought there
get
was
it.
a supernatural element to it, but okay, I guess not. That's cool.
No, there's no supernatural element really to it at all.
Okay. All right.
No. They sort of play with the supernatural element a little bit, just in the cultural differences. You know, like when they show the European ships when they first show up, because they're all black and covered with pitch to waterproof them.
Oh.
So they think they're like ghost ships.
Oh, I see.
when they first show up, you know, coming out of the
pretty cool.
fog and all that sort of shit.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, good visuals. Yeah.
So we got roots. We got Star Wars, of course. Star Wars is all over the place.
Star Wars all over.
Now let's talk a little product.
Saturday Night Fever. I remember when I was a kid, those two was like.
Yeah, it was Saturday Night Fever and Star Wars. So, yeah.
I remember Close Encounters was around, but I never saw that until much, much later.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently, yeah, it says it was the most popular toy was the Star Wars toy and the figurines mostly, and the Luke, Darth, and R2 were flying off the shelves. They had to reorder them and reorder them and reorder them. It was the highest reordered toy of the year.
I remember my dad, he'd go out of town for the phone company traveling during the week, and he'd come home on the weekends. I remember him coming home one weekend. We were still at the old house on Oakmont, and he had Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
And me and Eric were like, what are these?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's from this movie that's really big. And we're like, we have no idea what the hell this is.
I had the normal ones.
It was like, what do you mean the normal ones?
Well, I had normal ones where the lightsabers came out of their arms, right?
Yeah.
My dad went to the Orient, and he came back from Japan, or you know, because he was a clothes buyer for Carlisle, so he went to get clothes, and he came back, and he brought me a Luke Skywalker that had like a weird, different, like it didn't have the arm, it had a hand that held like a lightsaber, which came out later on, like 2 years later, which was like, and it didn't have like I think the cape was fabric instead of rubber. The original one had a rubber cape.
Well, the original was here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like I had that weird Japanese one, and my friends were like, "Where'd you get that? Oh my god!"
No, and I'm sure they were better.
And yeah, it probably is worth money if I would have had it to this day.
I know. I don't know where any of my stuff from my.
Oh, I know. My parents gave it away. All my Star Wars people too. I had the big fucking the head with all the I used to have like 13 stormtroopers. So when you're playing action figures, I had Jawas and stormtroopers galore.
Yeah.
I remember taking my allowance and going, I think this week I'm going to buy a couple more stormtroopers. So I made a point, like every week I was buying a new stormtrooper.
You got to make a show of force. You can't show the
You had
Empire's
to build your army.
show of force.
Yeah, because there's no fighting it. You could have your Luke and you can have all that thing but if you didn't have like 15 stormtroopers, what is the point? What are we doing here?
You're not really showing the force of the Empire. Speaking of the force of the Empire, coming up soon. The second and final season of Andor.
Oh, yeah, nerd boner. Here we go. Yeah, that's the best one. I know. And I say Star Wars stinks. I'm done with it. But Andor, no, I'm going back in for Andor, and I'm going back in for Mandalorian. I'm cool.
On one hand, I can't believe they're cramming all the Andor story into this one season as a cost-cutting measure. But then again, if you think about it in terms of what are they going to do? Like is it like 3 groups of 2 episodes or 4 groups of 3 episodes?
Still...
But if you think about it, if it's like 12 episodes, that's like 12 hours. That's like 6 movies.
Yeah, so you're getting some meat on the bone.
Yeah, if you think about it in terms of TV shows, you're like, oh, they're jipping us. But if you think about it in terms of movies, that's like having 6 and/or movies.
Yes, that'd be like 6 New Hopes.
Yeah,
so
or it'd be like the entire original trilogy plus the prequels.
So food for thought, Star Wars, big deal. Here we go. A couple products before I get into my Saturday morning cartoon run. Products that came out. The Atari video music thing. Atari was making video music consoles, apparently. I don't know what that is. Billy Beer came out. I don't know beer drinkers out there. You know the Billy's beer?
Wait. That was Jimmy Carter's brother.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Carter's alcoholic brother.
He was the president at this point. So, yeah. So Billy Beer, you're okay. So Billy Carter. Yeah, all right. The president's brother had a beer.
The president's lush brother.
All right. That's cool. Yeah, all right. Bubblicious gum.
I like Bubblicious.
We like the Bubblicious. Chia Pets came out.
Oh, boy.
Chia Pets. Still around to this day. Coleco Telstar Arcade. I don't know what that is. Do you know what the Coleco Telstar? Coleco?
I think this was probably a stand-up video game. It might have been a small-size cabinet.
Yeah.
But I think the Coleco system was a cartridge-based system.
Right.
Where you could change the game just by swapping out a cartridge.
Right. So they're getting into it, but it was a bigger console.
But not a user sort of thing. It was like, so the way the video games work is a lot of the stand-up video games, they just have the big motherboard.
Yeah.
And really the only thing that changes with the game is the little CPU chip.
Yeah.
So when because I used to work in video games, when a new version like Rampage 3 came out, they would send you a box that had the artwork for the headers, stickers for the sides of the cabinet, the graphical overlay for the controls, and then the CPU chip. That's it.
Okay.
And so you go into and you take off the old stickers, repaint them black, put the new stickers on, redo the control thing, put the CPU in. Brand new game.
Coleco Telstar. Okay. Well,
So I don't know. Could have been something like that.
Cookie Crisp cereal came out.
Man, I was always a big fan of Cookie Crisp.
Well, our parents were like, that ain't cereal, that's a
my
treat.
dad was like, you're insane.
Yeah, my parents were like, that's a treat, that's a snack. Stop it. We ate Cookie Crisp like cookies. We didn't eat it like cereal.
You and me, I mean, fuck, man.
Well, later on, yeah, when we started hanging out as teenagers.
if you came, because man, you could put down a box of cereal in a setting.
Yeah, and Cookie Crisp was on the stoner list.
Rome could put down a bag of Doritos in a setting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he liked the chips. Yeah, the Cookie Crisp was, that was at the top.
I mean, there were times my dad went shopping on Saturday morning and you guys came over and like we hung out and we fucking ate everything. My dad wakes up on Sunday and he's like, "Where's all the food I bought?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I bought 3 boxes of cereal." I'm like, "I don't know. Aaron had 1. Rome might have had the other."
Yeah.
You know, because it was like, because I remember at the time I was into, and I'm still sort of into it, and I just don't do it, but fucking honeycomb. Oh. Man, I could just shovel honeycomb.
Oh, I love, I still would say, cereal.
It's goodness, yeah.
What else? Cracklin' Oat Bran was one. Juicy Juices came out, the boxes. Slim Fast, first year for Slim Fast.
Well, it's one in the long line of powdered diet shakes.
Yeah. The Star Wars trading card, duh. Get this, Underoos.
I remember this.
We all had Underoos. I had the Superman.
This was the matching T-shirt and underwear sets that were Marvel and DC superhero themed.
Yes. I think I had a Superman. Maybe I
when
might
you were
have had a
6
Green
years
Lantern.
old, there was almost nothing cooler.
Yeah, true. That's 6. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah, Underoos, good for summertime.
Because I just remember seeing the ad. I never had any, but I remember there was the Batman thing and Spider-Man and Superman and.
Well, the move was to wear your Underoos. The shirt would be the shirt, like the Green Lantern would have the G on it. I wear that to school. But
the Batman one was a gray shirt.
Underwear.
It was a gray shirt with the Batman emblem, and then the black shorts with like a yellow, utility belt sort of situation.
Yeah. So you couldn't walk around just the underwear. The underwear
not
was
outside.
That was for you.
No, but for in the house, roughhousing with your brother and jumping off the bed and being like,
"Oh yeah,
vengeance.
fine there, yeah, I'm Batman." Yeah, for wrestling. So that was good. Yeah. So all right. So let's see. All right. Here we go.
Hey, do you remember when we were kids? That always, in my mind, went hand in hand with the Underoos. was that was the Underoos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember the garanamals?
Garanimals. Oh, those were like one-piece
zip-ups.
They were almost like, oh, lion.
Yeah, they were like outfits. Like there would be like a fucking overall and then like a fucking like a turtlenecky fucking shirt that you wear. But if the fucking overalls and the shirt would have like a little tag of a lion, that meant they went together. Then there was like a crocodile outfit. So it was like anything that had the crocodile on it, you could mix and match the clothes together. Remember that? It was like mixing and matching clothes for kids.
Is that why? Yeah, I don't remember. I've
never seen it advertised on TV. It was sort of like for kids too young. It was like too young for like our target demo. But I always thought, well, that's sort of interesting.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So I guess if you're like a well-dressed orphan and your parents are gone, and you go, I gotta match this vest with my pants. Well, I'll just do the turtle collection.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is the brand new top for the platypus collection, going with last year's platypus pants.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a color coding system, but an animal coding system.
That's it.
It was an animal code.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was color coded, but also with animals.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are weird.
I remember. Okay, so Saturday morning cartoons were a big thing. We all woke up early. Now, when I want to do this, do I want to go what was on each channel, or do I want to go by the time slot? You got three choices. Like if
Let's go by time slot, because the reality is, when we were kids, when you wake up at 6 a.m. on Saturday, because you would wake up on 6 a.m. on Saturday, because that's when the cartoon started, and you don't want to fucking miss it.
Yeah.
Your choice is what's on NBC, what's on ABC, what's on CBS, and that's it.
Well, 77, the early stuff. Now, I remember getting up early because the first thing was always Underdog. It was always like 7.
Well, honestly, I remember Underdog and the Underdog commercials being Sunday mornings.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
There was the Underdogs. There was also the Hong Kong Fooies, the Grape Apes, and
that might have been Sunday.
Yeah, those were Sundays.
Okay.
Because Sundays started off at 6 a.m. with Davy and Goliath.
Because these are starting now. The Saturday morning cartoons are starting on ABC, CBS, and NBC with 8 a.m.
I think 8 a.m. Well, because here I remember 6 a.m. was HR Puffin stuff. 6:30 was Land of the Lost. Because I remember getting up early to watch Land of the Lost.
Well, stand by, because they played it later on in the day.
Well, okay, this is for 77?
So 77. So it's 8 a.m. You got your choice. ABC has The Mumbly Show.
Huh.
CBS has Sylvester and Tweety.
Right, so that's the Looney Tunes reruns.
Yes, and NBC is running Woody Woodpecker.
Okay, so Woody Woodpecker reruns. You know what? Can I also say, just after we did last episode, I went home that night, Thursday night, and the new Kevin Smith fucking Fat Man Beyond came on with Mark Bernardin.
Okay.
And I was watching that, and they revealed that HBO Max has taken off Looney Tunes off the platform.
Thanks.
Yeah. Apparently there's some talk that it may turn up on something like Tubi or something like that, but yeah.
But
anyway.
they were Warner Brothers. You would have thought they were Warner Brothers.
That Zaslav dude is a fucking dillweed that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing about goddamn anything. He needs to keep his fucking hands off fucking HBO.
Yeah, because it was the whole idea of Looney Tunes was Warner Brothers.
That's the thing. And
Warner Brothers was CBS, right?
No, Warner Brothers was Warner Brothers. Oh. CBS was Columbia Broadcast System, CBS.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so 8 a.m., you got 8 a.m., you got Mumbly Show, okay, so you get
out of those three, what was on ABC?
ABC was the Mumbly Show. Definitely not watching that. So you'd possibly
Sylvester and Tweety, and then
Woody Woodpecker.
I would go Sylvester and Tweety, but at the time when I was 6, probably Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, same here. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, as I got older, I would have migrated to Sylvester. But you're right.
Well, the Looney Tunes are so fucking good.
Yeah, but as a young kid, I probably gravitated towards Woody Woodpecker. So let's go. Okay, 8:30. Guess what's on? ABC has Hanna-Barbera's Jabberjaw.
I love Jabberjaw.
Oh, he stinks.
Jabberjaw was great, especially when I was 6.
But here's one. My brother loved this one.
Jabberjaw was the voice of Curly from the Three Stooges, right?
Maybe. I always thought it was Milton Berle.
No, not Milton Berle.
Or no, Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's Paul Lynde.
It was sort of very
He's
Paul Lynde-y.
Jabberjaw, because he always had this weird, he had a weird Paul Lynde kind of Broadway-ish kind of tone.
Yeah, but it wasn't Paul Lynde, but
No.
but it was very much a Paul Lynde type.
Yeah, like they couldn't afford Paul Lynde, so because it was
Well, Paul Lynde wasn't gonna do
Hanna-Barbera
it,
and low
yeah.
budget, so they got somebody who sounded like Paul Lynde.
Yeah, and he probably did 5 other voices on the show.
Right, so you had that on ABC. My brother loved this one, Clue Club.
I love Clue Club.
Yeah, I like Clue Club too. That's a
Clue
good
Club
choice.
was solid, yeah, because there were a lot of these young groups out solving mysteries. Where were all these mysteries coming from?
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery shows. Yeah, because they're all trying to find their footing. Everyone wanted their mystery show.
Yeah, because here's the thing. In the late 60s going into early 70s, and even up through 78, the people in charge, there's a big disconnect between the youth and the people in charge. People in charge don't know what the youth are doing. They don't know how to reach them. They don't know what to say to them.
Yeah.
And the youth is saying, everything that you guys are putting out is lame. And
Yep,
and it
you're
was.
lame. You got to plug in.
Yep.
Yep, and on NBC it's the all-new Pink Panther Laugh and a Half show introducing Mr. Jaw.
I mean, that name says how hard they're trying to spiff up old 60s Pink Panther shit.
Yeah.
Which, in the cartoon world, is essentially a silent cartoon.
Yes, Pink Panther didn't say a word. It was just music, and he would do things. Yeah, but it was the Laugh and a Half show introducing who's Mr. Jaw.
Fucking no idea, man.
Yeah, I don't either.
No idea.
We obviously didn't watch it. We were watching Clue Club.
But I would suspect, because it's 77, using the word jaw 2 years after Jaws, probably some sort of shark. And it's no coincidence that we get Jabberjaw as well.
Oh, yeah. See, the
right.
suits are going, this is what the kids might want.
Yeah, the suits are going, cha-ching, cash in, sharks are hot.
Oh, well, here we go to 9 a.m. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, kids. Guess what's on? ABC has Scooby-Doo and Dynamite show.
The Dynamite shit is on this. Okay, actually, wait. Let me
mixed
dial it
with
back.
Dynamite
I actually
show.
enjoy Dynamite. I love Dynamite. I love Blue Falcon. I enjoyed them on their own. I thought it was a great tone to the show. I thought it was great because it's all serious. Blue Falcon's like Batman. It's all serious, but then Dynamite comes in with the jokes and it seems so inappropriate. It kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, it wasn't hateable.
The Scooby Dynamite crossover, I was okay with. I was okay with. I'm surprised that it's sort of this early.
That's 9 a.m. But keep in mind, 9 a.m., you switch the channel to CBS, you got Bugs Bunny Roadrunner.
But that's Bugs Bunny Roadrunner. Once again, they're making a differentiation between Bugs Bunny Roadrunner and Sylvester and Tweety.
Yes.
It's all the same.
NBC still has Pink Panther on. Pink Panther is running for an hour. It's the Mr. Jaw show still.
Wow. And same as CBS. CBS is doing what? 2 hours of Warner Brothers?
No, they go from Clue Club to Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny's a half hour, and
But Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show is 9 to 10. So it's 1
so it's
hour.
an hour. Okay.
Yeah. So
And
they're
who
bouncing-
had Sylvester and Tweety?
Sylvester and Tweety, CBS, once again.
Same CBS.
Yep.
So this just stuck Clue Club in between.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, now that could tell you something about the ratings. Is that Clue Club is probably a new show. I remember that was a late 70s sort of show. So those Looney Tunes were probably doing well in the ratings.
Right.
So they take a new show like Clue Club, stick it right between Sylvester and Tweety and Bugs and Roadrunner.
Right. And yep, because we already got a captive audience.
Got a captive audience. Even if they don't like the show, they just waited out a half
So
hour.
here
still
we
get the
go.
ratings.
Well, now we're into the 10 o'clock hour. Well, Scooby and Dynamite's still playing, so don't worry about that. 10 a.m. you got Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle.
Boy,
on
I
CBS.
don't really remember that one.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. And Speed Buggy on NBC. I think we watched Speed Buggy.
I love Speed Buggy. That was my
didn't
jam.
I didn't like Talking Cars, stupid. But my brother watched it, so I guess I think I watched Speed Buggy. I remember watching a lot of it.
Yeah, now, Speed Buggy, in my mind, gets conflated with Wheelie and,
You're right.
and the Speed Bunch, like Dean Devlin or something.
Yeah, and the
I don't
Wheelie
know.
and the Speedly bunch. Yeah, they were kind of like a 70. They were solving crimes too.
But they
And
were like-
talking car.
But they were like Evil Knievel types. I don't know. I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like 6. It sort of blended together.
Yeah. So let's see. 10:30. You got New Adventures of Batman on CBS. 10:30.
Now, New Adventures of Batman.
I don't know what that is.
It wasn't a Batman cartoon because Batman was on Super Friends,
Well, that's coming up.
right?
Yeah.
That was prime time.
I don't know what New Adventures of Batman is.
I mean, was that the 1940s Batman? The black and white one? The live action one?
I don't know. We'll have to Google that
Wow.
one. Also, 10:30, Monster Squad on NBC. What was Monster Squad? I don't know.
I sort of remember that.
Was that real people?
Yes, it was real people. It was sort of like making the Universal monsters sort of palatable for kids. Like a wacky Dracula leading a group of the Wolfman, the Mummy, yada yada. They're living in some house, trying to go into the radar. Some neighborhood kid comes over. I don't know. It was sort of like Borscht Belt shtick humor, where you're like, is this supposed to appeal to 6-year-olds?
Where the suits go. We'll try our hand at making something for the kids. We'll use the old,
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, we got these parts left over in Studio C. Let's
Somebody was all coked up and like, this is a surefire guarantee hit.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, 10:30. The Croft Show. Super Show.
Yeah, that's the Super Show. I talked about that a couple of fucking.
Is that the HR
years
Puffin stuff kind of thing?
So
where they had the big weird looking things?
Yes. So they had the HR Puffin Stuff show. And then they had what was the other one with Jimmy and the Magic Flute? Sigmund Sea Monster.
Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
Right.
Yes.
Then they did this Super Show, which they used as a way to introduce other characters in other shows.
Oh.
So they would have 3 different shows in there.
Okay.
That would run like a 7-8 minute segment. And then if it did pretty good, they spun one of them off to their own show.
Oh, so this was
and
this
they put
was the
another
farm
new.
league.
Yeah, so it was like a farm team.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the Croft Super Show.
Well, here we go at 11 o'clock. Super Friends was on at ABC.
Dude, when I was a kid,
Super Friends was a big deal.
Scooby-Doo and Super Friends. And by Scooby-Doo, I mean those old Scooby-Doos from 69
the good
and shit.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those, I loved those. I thought those were so atmospheric and creepy. Like it didn't feel like it was made for kids, And Super Friends was like that. That's what got me out of bed.
NBC was Space Ghost and Frankenstein Jr.
As one show?
as one show.
That's bad.
And
now, I remember Space Ghost. Space Ghost was pretty cool.
Yeah. That wasn't bad. It was all right.
Yeah.
And on CBS was Shazam Isis Hour. I don't know what that is.
That was live action, I believe.
Oh, really?
I believe there was a kid, a sort of Eric Estrada looking kid with a big fucking head of black hair, with the bell-bottom jeans and shit. And then he turned into Shazam, and it was a different actor. It was like Superman in a white suit. Remember? And then Isis was the chick. She had that necklace thing, a gold necklace thing. I think it was live action.
Oh, good. Sounds
It
like
might have been animated, but
it sounds very disco influenced.
Welcome to 1977.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember being a live action, but it could have been animated. Yeah.
Now here goes the big thing, and everything was wrapping up. End of the day, we got to go outside, guys. But before we do, it was noon. Land of the Lost was on CBS.
Yeah,
noon.
Here in Erie, it was on at like 6:30 a.m.
Well, and also at noon was Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, 100%.
Yes.
100%. I remember watching that. I always found the sort of funk music in it like really intriguing.
Yeah. I did too. Yeah, I like Mushmouth and all that. I found them fascinating because in my dumb suburban world, I didn't have any black friends or anything like that. So watching them was kind of like, oh, they seem kind of fun. I want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
They're all making fun of each other. They're goofing around. They're having a good time out there. I liked the Fat Albert gang.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was definitely the first thing that grabbed us,
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun with you.
Yeah.
Now, also notice during this time in the 70s with the cartoons, it's this whole idea of going back to OG, Scooby-Doo in 69.
Uh-huh.
This idea of they start mending the pop music, the pop scene, because they don't know what the kids are into, with the cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why in the 70s, all these fucking cartoon shows, there's some sort of band.
Oh yeah.
They're a group. Like they even had like fucking like Archie and Jughead in them. Like
starting a band.
Yeah, they did a band. They actually had a couple of hit songs for real on the radio.
Yeah, they charted.
Yeah, they charted. So yeah, interesting times.
Well, yeah. So, but if you stuck around, we all went out after that. But 12:30, well, American Bandstand was on.
I remember when American Bandstand came on, the cartoons were over.
Yep. And the only other
Soul
thing
Train.
would be on NBC. You could stick around for Arc 2. Arc 2 was like a sci-fi thing, and they had.
That was later. That was in the 80s.
No, Arc 2 was
77?
Yep.
Really?
Arc 2.
Was that live action or cartoon?
Yeah, it was because the robot looked like Danger Will Robinson. He looked like
It was live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they had the silver suits. And Arc 2 was kind of that ship with the door that opened down.
Yeah.
It almost looked like the Jawa ship, but it was silver. And
It was a land vehicle.
yeah.
Did it have like triple wheels?
Yes. And it had the door
remember.
that folded down.
That was the vehicle that they built and used for a made-for-TV movie
It looked like an Arc.
called Super Train.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they built it for a made-for-TV movie called Super Train, I think in like 75. Then they repurposed it with the triple wheels. Yeah. I remember this shit. Yeah. This shit burns its way into your brain.
Yeah, I remember it because I was like, that's not the same robot from Lost in Space, is it? But it looked like exactly.
It was that black one with the
yeah,
bulbous
he's like
sort
a
of
Michelin
head.
Man looking thing with the clear head.
Yes, and he's got the thing spinning
He's
around.
got the dumb arms, Danger Will
Yeah.
Robinson. Yeah. It was totally weak.
100%, man. That's the fucking hysterical thing is that back then there was so little to watch. We were all watching the same shit.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And asking the same questions. Is this the same robot from Lost in Space?
Well, that's how I was with the Cosby Kids shit, the Fat Albert and stuff. I'm like, where is it that you have a city block-sized garbage dump that the kids are playing in?
Yeah, the kids are playing in a garbage dump. What are we doing here?
And I'm like, oh yeah, 60s and 70s Philadelphia. Okay, all right. I don't
All
know.
right.
I don't know. What do I know about Philadelphia? Sure.
I know. I used to think like, oh, New York City and Philadelphia, those are the big cities. It's dirty. There's a lot of garbage. Everyone lives in a garbage dump. Oh,
Well-
they drink beer and live in garbage dumps.
When we were growing up, mid-late 70s, on film, representations of New York City,
Yeah.
it was a nightmare.
Yeah, hookers and pimps on every
It was a
street
hellscape.
corners.
And honestly, in 77 is where it was maxing out. If you watch on Netflix, there's a documentary called Sons of Sam
Yeah.
about the David Berkowitz serial killer or whatever. It's really fascinating because it deals with the Berkowitz killings, which is what's going on in 77 at the time in New York City.
Yeah.
The heat wave, the blackout, all this shit.
Oh, yeah, there was also, too, that was one last factoid. There was a blackout.
In New York City, yeah.
Yes.
And so
3
all this
days.
shit happened in 77. It's like fucking chaos. It's like end of the goddamn world. But that Sons of Sam documentary on Netflix is really cool because they go through the investigation that they start to find out it may have not been David Berkowitz. It may have been the fucking across the way neighbors. And it delves into the whole satanic panic thing of the late 70s and the 80s. It is fascinating. It's 4 episodes.
Yeah, the satanic panic thing. I know that.
But if you want to see an example of what mid-late 70s New York City looked like, flip that thing on. The first like 5 or 10 minutes of the first episode, it's just all news footage of New York City in 77. Yeah. Also, the garbage strike.
Oh, yes, that was mentioned.
And that's also the starting of punk rock.
Yes.
In New York City and London.
Yeah, punk rock, and probably in the ghetto parts was probably a lot of rap and dance parties and disco parties because they're remixing the vinyl.
What I heard is that because of the big power outage, when the big power outage happened and the looting started, they went in and looted the music stores and stole those drum machines. So that's why after 77, you started to have rap music. Because kids in Brooklyn and Queens and shit had the little fucking rolling
those 808
707 and 808.
Yeah. I can see it.
The drum machines. And so that's how, that's what they were saying. That was the democratization. And also with the turntables. To get the crossfade mixer and the 2 turntables. That's why you started getting a lot of that sort of coming out. Was after they looted the...
Little known fact.
After they looted the stores.
Little known fact. My parents lived in New York City. My brother was born in New York City.
That's right.
I was conceived in New York City. But when my mom was pregnant with me, they moved back to Erie. But they lived in New York from like 67 to 69, or to 70. 71 when I was born in 71 here, but 70. So up to 70. But they lived in Jamaica, New York, which was Queens. And from what I gathered, they don't really, my dad's long gone, but the way he talked about it, he said, no, we liked it then. When we first got there, it was all kind of like 60s and mod, and everything was cool, and it was fashionable, and they dressed all mod. But then it started getting, by the time we got, 3 years, he just said there's just it just started coming in on itself. It started just getting overpopulated, over dirty, over crammed with people, and just... just between dirt and noise and pollution, and it was just like too much. It was just overload, sensory overload. So 1968 was a different ball game to 1970.
That's sort of the whole
2 years.
point of All in the Family.
Yeah.
Which Archie Bunker, that's all in Queens.
Yeah.
Which
I know. I wish I had a time machine. I want to see that. I'd like to see my. Yeah, weird thing. I could see it. So when you think about it, you go, I was this close to being a New York City baby.
Right.
I could have grown up in New York City.
Well, no, you wouldn't have grown up there.
No, I know. I would have probably been a street thug. I would probably, who knows? My brother would have got me in. I don't know. Geez, we would have been. Yeah, we would have been riding the rails.
You would have gotten stabbed at 10 for your smart mouth.
Yeah, we would have been. We would have been roller skating heroes. Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Who knows?
Skating.
Well, it's been a great episode. 1977 rocked. Oh, wait. Oh, we got a list. We got to do this real quick, guys. 131. Do we want to do our best worst list? I got one.
You got one?
I got one.
All right, if you got one, hammer it out. I got one too.
Let's do one real quick. This one's quick. You're going to like this one. A lot of fun. All right, Mike.
I could do a not quite top 5, bottom 5 list. I could do just a fucking 10-point list.
Well, we're at...
Which might be quicker to run through.
Huh?
It might be quicker to just run through a 10-point list.
Run through a 10-point list?
I got one single 10-point list.
Single 10-point list. Let's do it.
All right.
10-point list. No best worst this week. We're going to do 10-point list by Mike.
Yeah, we got them locked and loaded for top 5,
right.
bottom 5 list, but we'll do them next week because we're running.
I'll save this one for next week.
Yeah, and I've got one locked and loaded too, but we're running short on time. So here is a 10-point list that I had. So this is titled, There is no top 5. These are all bad.
All bad.
This is TV shows turned into bad movies.
Oh, a TV show, all horrible TV shows. Now, were the TV shows better? Just a standard TV show and they turned them into a bad movie?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm sure. I mean, this could go on forever, but you got your top.
I've got 10.
10 that you hit your meter as far as
10 that are solid, sort of indisputable, right? So these are TV shows turned into bad movies. In no particular order. We'll just go down them.
All right, start with 10.
As they occurred to me. Starsky and Hutch. The TV
show wasn't bad, movie's terrible.
The movie was terrible with Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. Mm-hmm. I love those guys, but it was a bad movie.
Good idea, but no.
Bad movie. 21 Jump Street.
Ew, God,
it was a good enough TV show that launched Johnny Depp's career. It was a big hit when it came out.
Yeah.
And then they made those movies with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of funny, but they're sort of terrible.
Yeah. Two people. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
This might be my number one if it gets to it. Chips.
They made a movie of Chips?
Remember with Dax Shepard and Michael Pena?
Oh, Michael Pena.
You remember that?
Wow. I didn't realize it was Dax Shepard, but yeah.
Yeah, that was just a couple years ago. That was like 3-4 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That Chips movie was bad.
I obviously didn't see
it. I like those guys and everything, and I'm sure it's well enough made.
Yeah, there's no slight on the actors within these, but just everyone's got to work.
Story-wise, it's like, it's not working. It's not grabbing people. It just doesn't make sense. The whole thing that made Chips work was the sort of day in, day out sort ofness of it.
Yeah.
You can't do it in a movie.
No.
All right. So Get Smart.
Oh, yeah.
Love the TV show. They did the movie with Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway 10, 12 years ago.
Good casting, though. Steve Carell, it's like, okay, I see where they go. Okay, let's remake this. Let's go.
But it was like the thing that made Get Smart show work is that Don Adams, Maxwell Smart, was sort of the smartest guy. He seemed eccentric, and you think, like, he doesn't know what he's doing. But it always turned out that he was right. In the movie, it was like they made Steve Carell sort of a dumbass character.
Oh, they doofed him up.
And so it was Anne Hathaway saving the day and rolling her eyes. It really didn't work.
Oh, that's an old trope.
Yeah. So TV shows turn into bad movies. How about Sex and the City?
Yeah, I don't think I could survive that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how about the second one where they're like on camels and shit like that? Oh.
I don't even know. Yeah, was that the where they brought the show back?
Yeah.
And suddenly we're back or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. I read about them, but that's not my cup of tea. All right, how about this one? Munsters and the Rob Zombie's Munster movie from like 2 years ago. Yeah, nobody knows anything about this Rob Zombie's Munster movie. It looks terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably got some of the aesthetics cool, but I mean, yeah, he probably missed. I don't know. It's hard to say because
I like Rob Zombie and stuff, but sometimes
I like the Rob Zombie Halloweens.
the tone and I mean, the first one I thought was.
liked
you know what? We're going to talk about the Halloweens later. I'm not getting into it right now.
Okay.
All right. We'll get there. All right. TV show turned into terrible movie. Entourage. Remember from HBO?
Oh, I never saw the movie, and I watched every episode of Entourage.
Right. I watched the show too. It's a fairly entertaining
it.
show. And at the time it came out, it was like a peek inside Hollywood. It was sort of fascinating.
Yeah.
Then the world changed. And then they just were a bunch of self-absorbed douchebags.
Yeah, and then it just turned into like a slow motion party on the edge of a yacht, and they're just dancing with chicks.
Borderline sexual assault. I know.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the movie like 7 years later.
And what was the movie about?
Nobody watched it. None of it works. The world changed. They missed
Right.
it.
Were they still pushing the Aquaman movie?
I think.
Remember he was Aquaman?
Oh man, I was stoked for it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. James Cameron, Aquaman.
Yeah, and you can't. The Ari Gold character,
Yeah,
Piven's doing
it's
Ari
great.
Gold to this day is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of good stuff there in Entourage, but they made that movie way too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work anymore.
No.
The whole thing doesn't work anymore. You know, the Dukes of Hazzard.
I knew you were gonna get this one
Yep,
on there.
yep.
Yeah.
It was a terrible movie with Sean William Scott and Johnny Knoxville and
Knoxville,
Jessica
yeah.
Simpson as Daisy Duke.
Yeah, and Willie Nelson as Uncle Jesse.
Oh my God, was it? I forgot about that.
I'm pretty
oh,
sure that's
my God.
yeah.
Where was Snoop Dogg? How did Snoop Dogg fit in? Was he Cooter? Oh my God.
I
it
don't
was
know.
A terrible
Or
movie.
they just threw him in because Willie Nelson was there.
Terrible.
Yeah, they needed a reason to smoke pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible. The show was all right, man. We loved that shit when we were like 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever the fuck it
We
was.
were 9, but when you got any semblance of reality, it stinks.
Yeah. Once you get past like car crushing, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So much similar to Douches of Hazzard, A-Team. Remember they did the movie a couple years ago with Liam Neeson, Rampage Jackson from the UFC as B.A. Baracus,
Really?
Bradley Cooper as a face man role.
Wow,
And
I don't
forget
remember
who was
that.
Murdoch.
I could see that going down.
Yeah,
but
they did that A-Team movie a couple years ago.
boy, that almost feels like one of those. What's the memory? A false memory?
No, it was real. It was real, man.
Really went down.
It was
huh?
real. Yeah,
That's like the Shazam movie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sinbad?
I like the Shazam movie. But okay, and this could be number one. The TV show to terrible movie, Dragnet. Remember that Dragnet movie with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd?
The only thing that
That
made
movie
that
was
bad was that MTV played that the Dragnet rap song.
Oh, the rap song. That's
we
right.
like to dance in our goatskin pants. And that was throw them remote worthy.
Oh,
Get this
shit. I saw that thing in the theaters.
Oh, I did not. Really?
Really?
I just
So you
remember
weren't
the
with me that
video
day?
playing
All
over and over on MTV.
Yeah, because it was like, that came out in 85, if I'm remembering correctly. And the thing was, MTV, we'll get to it when we get there, but MTV started doing this thing, or the movie studio started doing it, where they were releasing soundtrack albums up to a year before the movie came out.
And videos that would have
And they
the
were
characters and
racking
people
up
in there.
hits in the music videos. They did it with Flashdance.
Oh yeah.
Like a year before it came out, and they did the shit out of it with Footloose. Footloose had like 6 or 7 hit songs before the movie came out. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was called pre-marketing or something like that.
Yeah. Didn't they do it like the Roadhouse one? Wasn't it like even like what's the
Roadhouse had that Jeff Buckley shit.
and the and the Dark Side and the John
Eddie and the
Cafferty
Cruisers.
Eddie and the Cruisers, right?
That was
we were
huge.
seeing John Cafferty and Beaver Brown Band before the movie was even
And
nearly
even
out.
Streets of Fire. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got
Forgot
real
about
interesting,
pre-marketing.
like early sort of 80s, but we'll get there. But,
Yeah.
But this whole like where they were just releasing music videos and shit way before the movie came out, like that became super effective, man. It almost guaranteed a hit movie. I mean, I remember they suckered me in with Footloose.
Oh God.
By the time the Footloose movie came out, I'm like, I got to see this thing.
right.
You know?
They did that to me with the Eddie and the Cruisers. I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. On the
waiting.
dark side. My mom loved that.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
Which I haven't seen that movie in forever.
What?
Eddie and the Cruisers.
The first one's not bad because is he alive? Is he a ghost? Is he not? The second one was bad because he ran away to Canada.
You know what? Maybe we should do a sort of homework assignment for the watchers of Watch Eddie and the Cruisers,
Okay.
and then compare and contrast with Streets of Fire.
I don't know Streets of Fire, but I know Eddie and Cruisers real well.
Wait a minute. I think we covered this in one of the way early episodes, and I don't know if it's one of the ones that anybody watches. But, yeah, you didn't know Streets of Fire. You wouldn't remember any of this, huh? Because, man, they had it on MTV.
Streets of Fire. I mean, I know the name. That sounds super familiar.
This is like where I think we got introduced to Willem Dafoe.
Oh, yeah?
I think the bad guy lead in Streets of Fire was actually the singer for the Germs. It was like a singer from a punk band.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It was Michael Pare from Eddie and the Cruisers.
Okay.
He was the hero guy, war hero, soldier guy coming back to town.
Okay.
And it's the sort of town that exists underneath train tracks, like elevated train tracks.
Oh.
And it's always raining. And there are these street gangs that run the place. And
So mixing Eddie and the Cruisers with the Warriors.
that's it. That's it, 100%.
That's the elevator pitch?
That's it, man. That's it. And so, like, Diane Lane is this rock star. She's like 19 at the time. She's performing on stage in this sort of doo-wop group thing. She's got 3 backup singers or whatever. They had a music video used to do, I forget what it was. During the concert, the motorcycle riding bad guys grab her, kidnap her
While she's on stage.
while she's on stage. And Michael Pare's back in town. Now he's got to find her and save her because it's his like ex-girlfriend or something like that from high school. I'm not sure. Streets of Fire is nuts. It's a rock opera in the streets thing. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man,
you know,
I think I missed my radar. This sounds delightfully horrible.
yeah. So let's look around. I don't remember
We
seeing
gotta
any
watch
of the
that one.
Cruisers.
Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire. It was like 82, 83, something like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it might be an interesting contrast and compare. I think Michael Pare is in both of them. So consider it a Michael Pare double feature, because he's Eddie from Eddie and the Cruisers, and he is also the Soldier Boy. And I always say Soldier Boy because I think about I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker with Keenan Ivory Wayans,
yeah.
which is a spoof of the blaxploitation movies like Shaft and shit like
For
that.
sure.
Which is fucking hysterical.
So much to watch, so little time.
Oh, we're getting into it, man, because we just did 77.
77.
And we're rolling up
heating
into the 80s now. Once we get cable TV in like 1980, it's on.
We're going to have some fat-ass episodes, kids.
Oh
Thanks
my
for tuning in.
God.
It's the Dewcast.
Yeah, right. Watch the episode all the way through. Tell your friends to watch it all the way through. We need to increase the watch time. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit comments. Shoot us up on the email. Hit us up. Tell us what's what. Don't be a goddamn dick or we'll block you and we won't mention you at all because you're just an asshole.
And just, hang out with us. It's a good hang, guys.
Yeah, come out, hang out, have fun.
All right, we're doing it.
See you next week.